Edmonton XL 92.5 FM.
Hey, welcome in, guys. Along for the ride. Good to be back in the saddle after a week off. And let me just tell you this. I'm not going to bury the lead. I'm going to get right to it. If you thought for a minute they're going to play a trans-perfect Music City Bowl between Mizzou and Iowa, and I'm not locked in, I don't know what's the matter with you.
What's been your impression so far of this one?
My main impression was I didn't know it was on until RJ just read it, and I got it on so quickly. I mean, did you see the move? Did you see what I did with that remote?
It was impressive.
It
was like
it's a great first
Doc Holliday with that.
No question. I drew that quickly. Iowa leads 21-14 in a barn burner. Late first half is the way it would appear. But Missouri on the move here. They're moving right to left. Brady Cook fires to the right side. That's knocked away. It's incomplete. That's all I got for you. Okay, so there you go.
Well done.
There's a little bit of play-by-play.
Yeah, this is a big one for Greg Sankey.
There's no question. Frangie and Carlyon, excuse me, with you, JJ LaSalva. JJ, how are you? How are your holidays?
Good. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Yeah, Merry Christmas. So I was gone for a week, and I got a little time to get away for a little bit. In the meantime, what we did do is we discovered how to make the Jaguars win. So there's that.
Yeah.
The Jaguars win yet again.
Play the Titans every week.
I mean, who are those Titans anyway? Yeah. So that one, it looks easy now when you play the Titans.
It does. They're a mess. Boy, the Jaguars, I think, will quickly come out of this malaise. The Titans need a lot to go right, I think, to get back into anything. Like, they should go ahead and just trade this offseason, trade Simmons, trade Ridley, trade anybody of consequence, and just do a complete rebuild because they are not even remotely close.
Well, and one reason they're not is, and I know he didn't play this game, Mason Rudolph played, but in this, boy, when you don't have a quarterback,
yeah,
and the I said to my friends last week, I went on the air, but I was a little concerned that Mason Rudolph, I wasn't going to say he was better than Will Levis. I was going to say he's not quite as bad as Will Levis. Oh, I don't know.
He's terrible.
In retrospect, I don't know. If I might, you know what? In retrospect, I might edit that comment.
Yeah,
he's Will Levis, a little more seasoned and not as strong an arm.
That's the thing. I was struck in seeing Mason Rudolph live yesterday. What a pop gun arm he has.
I'm a real pop gun arm. I agree with you.
I mean, stunning. Like, how has he made it this long in the NFL with that lack of arm strength, which obviously Levis has? So, yeah, I mean, if it were me, if I was the Titans, I would go with Levis and hope for the best that he works his way out of it. Mason Rudolph shouldn't be in the NFL. I mean, he's athletically not good enough to be in, at least not anymore. Maybe he's lost some arm strength. I don't know, but I have not seen a quarterback with that weak of an arm, and I'm not sure I've ever seen it.
Yeah, and your point's right. I had the same reaction that you've seen games on TV here and there, and TV doesn't do justice to that. 'Cause, I mean, I thought the same thing. I saw him. Wow, well, that ball's hanging up, man. That ball's in the air for a while. You know?
And it was balls that in this league have to be driven. You know, sometimes you want a layered ball, but these were instances where there needed to be some pep on the football, and there was none.
Yeah, but I thought about it. So we'll talk some Jaguar football today. What did the win mean? What happens 1 week now? One more game. Next Monday, a week from today is when all changes made. If there's going to be changes, you would imagine that's what it'll be. I got a lot of thoughts on that. So we'll talk Jaguar football. And let me say this. Kudos to Mac Jones. I thought he played his best game. I thought that was
by far. Very nice passer rating.
Yeah, that was his 6th start as a Jaguar. His 48th start as an NFL player. I thought he made plays as a runner. He had the knack of knowing when to run. He didn't slide because sliding would have cost him a couple first downs, and instead he ran and looked like a decent running quarterback. I thought 2 or 3 of those throws he made, the touchdown to Brian Thomas Jr. and the one along the right sideline to Brian Thomas Jr.
Big time throws.
Really good throws. Yeah. I mean, really dropped it in a bucket. And he really did. And
he kind of had to because the ground game really wasn't there. I mean, ETN was 3.3 yards a carry, and Bigsby was 3-0 flat. So
and by the way, that 3 yards and 3-0, the 3 flat and 3-3, they made it on their own too.
Yeah.
I mean, there wasn't much there.
There wasn't. I'm not putting it on them, but the ground game was lacking. So you needed a big-time performance, and Mac Jones certainly delivered that. 2 touchdowns, no picks, and averaged well over 10 yards per completion. That's from a backup quarterback. That's outstanding.
And I hate to say the same thing every time we do one of these shows. I try and mix it up a little bit, and we do sound like a broken record, all of our shows, not just us. What a megastar Seven's going to be. I mean, he's going to be – I will say this. I'm already convinced, and I'm not that guy. I'm not the guy that makes these statements without thinking through it and being patient about it. But I will tell you, barring injury, because injury changes everything or can change everything, is there any – they've had this franchise 30 years. 30 years. Is there any doubt in your mind that at worst he'll be the second best Jaguar receiver in history behind Jimmy Smith? Any doubt?
No, because the league doesn't really – when you've established yourself as a receiver, you don't normally fall back. You don't hear of the sophomore slump with receivers like you do, quarterbacks, it happens, defensive players, it can happen, offensive linemen, it can happen. But you rarely see a rookie receiver have a big-time year and then – struggle a second year, assuming he stays healthy. Now, Brian Thomas Jr., to your point, could have health issues. But if he stays healthy, because really, to be honest, a lot of the things that worked against him this year, you hope won't work against him in future years. Like next training camp, he goes into training camp as the number one option by far, regardless of what they decide to do with Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram, whoever it is. I mean, he is the number one guy going into training camp. So he is not going to have to work his way into a starring role. He is going to have that right out of the gate. And the other thing, too, is, look, he's played a good portion of the year with the backup quarterback, which does make a difference. So, the fact that a lot of receivers can be great with the starter, but once the backup comes in, their game falls apart. That's not happened with him. He's been better. Now, I think he's been better because he's gotten more opportunities. I don't think it's, Mac Jones has some chemistry with him that Trevor doesn't. I think Trevor and Brian Thomas will be fantastic together. But my point is, what if next year he stays healthy, he's the number one option from the opener, which he will be, and he gets 17 games with Trevor Lawrence? I mean, the league is going to try to figure him out and things they can do, but at receiver, there isn't much of a counterpunch the league can throw other than obviously doubling them. But I mean, what obviously Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, the greats, they got all. It doesn't matter. If you are fantastic at receiver in the NFL, it is really hard for the league to just take you away.
And the reason is because, don't overthink it, Hays, because you run faster than everybody else out there. If you can run, I don't care if you run faster while dribbling a basketball, it's hard to defend you. If you run fast when you're going first to third, it's hard to get you out. If you run fast as a football player, faster than everybody else on the field, don't overthink this. I mean, he's a hard worker. He's physical. His body control is amazing. He's got good hands. But there's other guys that have that. On top of all that, he's faster than everybody. When he got that toss on the 18-yard reverse, he exploded.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was well blocked and it was a good play call, but he ran by everybody, blockers, defenders,
and he knows when to hit it.
Yes, he does. He's got a couple gears.
Really good football instincts. His release is fantastic. So it's not just that he's athletically superior; he's a good instinctual football player as well. And as we've learned about him since he's been here. He's very humble.
He's a great kid.
You don't have to worry about him, getting full of himself and not working very hard. I mean, that's just not how Brian Thomas Jr. appears to be wired. So he is the total package. I mean, it will be again. Injury is the only thing that could potentially slow him down because really, again, in terms of adversity, his rookie year has had a pretty good share of it in terms of, again, going into the season being basically the fourth option and having to work his way to number one, whereas now he's going to be number one forever, and not having his starting quarterback for a good chunk of the year. So, boy, if he gets those two things and stays healthy next year, I mean, he could be 1,500 yards and 15 touchdowns.
Yeah, I agree with that. So we'll talk a little Jaguars football. We'll start the program with that, as we often do. On a Monday, Bucky Brooks will join us, as he always does. 5 o'clock to talk more Jaguar football. Comes up in a bit. Is the date November 9th significant to you in any way?
November 9th?
Yeah. It was just after Halloween.
That's right.
Week or so. It was a good 2 full weeks before Thanksgiving. Okay. It was before daylight savings time ended. Okay. A long time ago. Would you say that?
Yes.
Do you want to know the significance?
I would. I'm intrigued.
That's the last time the University of Florida lost a football or basketball game.
Wow.
Let me just throw that at you, Carlyon.
How about
I
that?
haven't had those kind of moments very often, okay?
Yeah.
November 9th is the last time the Florida Gators lost a football or men's basketball game.
That's unbelievable. I did see
It's December 30th.
Yeah. And they're safe for another 5 days at least until Saturday.
Right. Okay, so they will go from November 9th to January whatever.
3rd, whatever the Kentucky game is.
Yeah. So how about that? Oh, that's that. How about me dropping that on you free of charge on a Monday afternoon on the First Coast?
That is a great stat. I saw somebody tweet out last week that Florida had gone like 44 days without losing in either sport, and the next highest on the list was like 22 days, something like that. And I haven't seen that could have, that school could have lost. I don't know, but yeah, it's been Todd Golden is. Florida needs to do whatever they can do to hold him, because I can't imagine whenever Kansas or North Carolina or Duke or whenever one of those opens, I can't imagine he's not going to be very high on the list, or maybe even NBA opportunities. And yeah, it's Billy Napier seems to have found his footing and turned the corner with the football program. The jury's to me a little bit more out on Napier. I think Todd Golden's a star. I'll be surprised if Florida ever misses the NCAA tournament as long as he's the coach. Now they may be a 10 seed and not a 2 seed, but I think with Todd Golden, even in an crazy deep SEC, he's a good enough coach that Florida will always be fine with him. Napier there's still some fine tuning there with Napier, but now you're starting to see the 2026 class. He's starting to get some really good early returns on the 5 stars, the top 100 kids in this next class, which we've always said, if Billy Napier can ever sell results, he'll be very elite on the recruiting trail. So again, he's got to hold up. He's got to win games this fall. He's got to win probably 8 or 9 games to hold the job. But yeah, it looks pretty good right now for the Gators. Knock on wood.
We're not that far removed from basketball title in April, football title in January, basketball title in April, all in succession. We're not. So I'm predicting the next 2 titles from both sports. That's my prediction.
Again, it's Florida is certainly right in the mix in basketball. Winning the national title is obviously incredibly difficult, but they're right in position in terms of, as we go into SEC play, they're 6th in the country. So it's not laughable to suggest that Florida might be the last team standing. Yeah. And if DJ Lagway becomes the next great thing in college football, they'll have a chance in football.
Yeah, I got a lot of thoughts on that. We haven't been on the air together since the Gator Bowl game.
That's right.
We'll certainly talk about that. Cam Ward. JJ, were you bothered by the Cam Ward stuff yesterday or overrated? Did you care? You didn't care, right?
I didn't care about the game, and I was excited that he was going to play. Like, in general, I was shocked. And then he didn't in the second half, and I was like, well, now we're going to lose. But I was happy that we got to see, because we haven't done anything in the portal with a quarterback.
Right,
and, a lot of the fan base was like, oh, Emery's our guy. Or remember when he did this against FSU or whatever? Like, he beat Clemson. I'm so glad we saw that, because if that guy is the quarterback for Miami next year, they might win 3 games. Like, they'll have a Florida State-type season. Yeah. Like, that could happen. So I am very happy that we got to see Emory Williams is not the starter for Miami next year. And now it's like, I guess you got to get a guy from FCS or from the playoff, or I don't even know who's out there anymore.
Our going back to the Gators and that streak.
Yeah.
Our good buddy Zach Ricketts at Ricketts Electric just texted me and says,
he says that
Florida's
got the deal coming
Saturday.
Okay. But is Zach, by the way, is Zach responsible for that damn game being at 11 in the morning?
Right.
Why are we, Zach, why are we playing at 11?
Good for Florida, though, right?
Was the 8 a.m. window not available?
It is surprising.
I mean,
I can't remember an 8 a.m. game.
Yeah.
For a game of that magnitude. Yeah. But if you're going into Rupp, that's probably when you'd like to play it.
Yeah, Zach, just so you know, since you're listening, when we lose 81-68, I'm blaming the 11 o'clock start. Just so you know that, though. Our buddy Zach Ricketts from Ricketts Electric, an all-time good dude. Let's take a break. When we come back, let's start with some Jaguar football. What did the win mean? What is the significance of it? What's going to happen a week from today? What's going to happen a week from yesterday in Indianapolis? We'll talk some Jaguar football after this.
The Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
He'll cross the line into the danger zone so you can be informed from the safety of home.
Out here, it's military law, and I'm in charge of enforcing it.
Hays Carlyon takes you behind enemy lines. Brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors on 1010XL.
Hi, I'm Frank Frangie, and I've depended on South State for my banking needs as long as they've been serving Duval. Whether you're saving for retirement, purchasing a home, starting a business, your goals are their commitment. With forward-thinking, personalized banking solutions and best-in-class service, South State is ready to help you navigate your financial journey. Connect at southstatebank.com or drop by any of the 5 local South State offices. South State Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Need protection? Call Craig and Christine Kaprosky at Goosehead Insurance. The Kaproskys are a husband-wife team committed to finding you the right coverage at the right price in just a few short minutes. For home, auto, flood, or specialty insurance, Craig and Christine Kaprosky are the answer. Craig.Kaprosky at goosehead.com.
Frank Frangie here. It's the holiday season, and Nimnick Chevrolet is here for you. Whether you're making memories on the road or continuing family traditions right here in Jacksonville, you can always count on us because there's nobody but Nimnick. The Red Tag sales event is back at Nimnick Chevrolet. This month, you can save up to $12,000 off a new Silverado. And unlike most dealerships, Nimnick Chevrolet has the largest inventory on the ground, ready for you to explore. So shop online 24/7 at nimnickchevy.com. Chevrolet, together, let's drive.
Rotator cuff injuries are common among athletes and those who have physically demanding careers. Don't let this injury keep you away from the sport you love. Dr. George Barry here, and the first thing you need to do with a serious shoulder injury is to diagnose where the damage is and how significant it is. Rotator cuff tears are either acute tears sustained during an injury or accident, or degenerative tears. If you're interested in learning more about rotator cuff repair and how our expert team of orthopedic surgeons can help you, call Barry Orthopedics today or visit barryorthopedics.com.
This is Greg Huntington, a.k.a. The Mangler. I'm on the winning team at Waste Management. WM is the largest sustainability company in North America. If your business needs sustainable environmental services for waste removal and recycling collection, then you can count on the industry leader of WM to deliver results. Your services will be completed in a timely, safe, and eco-friendly manner. Go to WM.com/Duval. That's WM.com/Duval and get signed up today. If anyone can talk trash, it's the Mangler.
Hey, sports fans, it's Hays Carlyon for MyBookie. While other books make promises, MyBookie delivers. This holiday season, they're stacking the deck in your favor with 12 days of Christmas now through the 31st, a festive lineup of can't-miss opportunities for bettors to cash in. Risk-free Thursdays, super boosts, and free bets. Weekly casino giveaways with hundreds of winners and thousands in cash prizes. All it takes is a 50-cent spin on BetSoft slots to enter. With the road to New Orleans, bowl games galore, and a Christmas Day sports feast featuring NFL action and an NBA doubleheader, this is your season to win. The 12 Days of Christmas event is live right now. Lock in today. Use my code 1010XL with your first deposit, and MyBookie will give you a little extra to start your holiday hot. MyBookie is offering a 50% deposit bonus for 1010XL listeners. Just sign up and use promo code 1010XL. There's a reason MyBookie has been the go-to for serious bettors for 10 years. Make your holiday season a jolly one with MyBookie.
She's seen and heard all over 1010XL's video and social channels.
Whether the big cats are at the bank or on the road, I'm there too. Follow my updates all season long, on air and online.
All things Mia are driven by Arlington Toyota.
The time to buy an emergency generator is before you need it, not when you're sitting in the dark. Storms happen in a hurry in Florida, so be prepared. Protect your family and property with American Electrical Contracting. Call them today, 737-7770.
Have you tried golfing at the improved Cimarron Golf Club? If you haven't, tell you what, you're missing out on the best deal in Jacksonville. Now, many of you have received a postcard in the mail, and of course, if you bring that with you, $45 plus tax to play. That includes a cart, lunch, and a beer at the brand new Stone Barrel Tap House. Now, go to the website, that is CimarronGolfClub.com, and sign up for the Wild One Loyalty Program. That's the Wild One Loyalty Program, and get all of these specials emailed to you from Cimarron.
There are 3 certainties in life: death, taxes, and if you stay in your home long enough, a new roof. Pick it here for our friends at Lockhart Roofing. Nobody better in Jacksonville. How do I know? They are a local certified Master Elite contractor, and that means they have a GAF Master Elite warranty. That's the best in the roofing industry. In this day and age, don't settle for cheaper discount roofers. Lockhart Roofing has been here for decades. They aren't going anywhere. Call my friends at Lockhart Roofing, 994-3851. That's 994-3851. Lockhart Roofing, Jacksonville's best for Jacksonville people.
Roland Reach Plumbing, there when you need them. Big or small plumbing problem, call Roland Reach Plumbing anytime at 260-7059. 260-7059, where quality and experience count.
For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for
Instant Keys. Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Best Bet Monday on The Frangie Show with fantastic locations in Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now in St. Augustine. It's Best Bet.
Hey, Happy New Year's from the Best Bet, by the way. All 3 locations are open New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. So you want to have a big time on both those days. Celebrate responsibly, but in a fun way, by going to the Best Bet. BestBetJacks.com can tell you all the details and all the fun going on. But again, open on New Year's Eve, open on New Year's Day. All those games are going to be on, all those TV screens there, and you can make a bunch of dough as well. 3 locations: Best Bet Jacksonville on Monument Road, Best Bet Orange Park, right there on 17, and Best Bet St. Augustine on right off of I-95. They do a great job. And again, don't think for these next 2 days you're not going to be able to have some fun. You're going to have a blast. So head to the Best Bet when you get an opportunity to do so. All right, Frangie Carlyon and JJ LaSelva with you as we continue along here on a Best Bet Monday. Bucky Brooks comes up in about 40 minutes. We'll talk some Jaguar football. I'm glad the Jags won. There's some people wanted the Jags to lose because of draft picks. Moreover, a lot of people wanted the Jags to lose because they want change here and change there. I'm always glad when they win the game. Football's hard. You battle and you scrap and you sweat and you deserve some gratification. I like these guys. I was really happy for Mac. I was really happy that Mac had a good game here in his hometown. So I was glad they won the game. Number one, in my mind, in this draft, I don't think there's a significant difference between drafting 3rd or 4th or 7th or 8th. I just don't. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe if quarterbacks go 1 and 2, then 3rd's Travis Hunter, and that is different than 6. Yeah, but I don't think there's a big difference. And I don't sense that winning that game is going to have a significant impact on what Shad Khan does or doesn't do on Monday. I don't think that game is going to affect it. If he was going to make a change at general manager or head coach, I don't think winning that game changes it. If he's not going to make a change at general manager, head coach, I don't think that game was going to affect it. And I feel the same way about next week's game too. I think my guess is Shad Khan already knows what he's going to do or not do. So let's start with the game. In my opinion, there's not a real appreciable effect of either of those things, at least for me.
Yeah, it's funny. Like from my vantage point, in the morning leading up to the game, I was hoping they would lose it because the game is meaningless. And I would like to see them have the fantastic draft capital that, possibly brings Travis Hunter, or more importantly, maybe you get a trade partner who's willing to give you some pretty good ammunition to move up to get a quarterback. But it's funny, as the game goes on, and certainly at the end, I was glad they won. I mean, it moves them down a couple of spots, but it's hard being in a stadium and seeing the diehard fans that have shown up and are obviously cheering for the Jaguars, and to see the kids as you walk into the stadium. And we talked about our buddy Zach. He took, his family. He took some nephews. I mean, he had a bunch of kids with him, and you saw them all over the stadium because kids want to go to the game. They don't care. They don't care about the records. They don't care about the weather. They want to go see the Jaguars play. And for a lot of kids, that might have been the first time they've seen the Jaguars play. And so it's cool that that the Jaguars got a win, for those kids, and for the pure of heart fan that always wants to see the Jaguars win. Now, I am more the realistic fan where it's, I again, losing probably helps them in the future, but certainly to see the joy that everybody had that was there, and to see to your point, see the players get rewarded for their professionalism, for still being engaged and doing their job. I thought it was a cool moment for the Jaguars to get this, and you get to say, you swept the Titans, and you get to this week go for a 4-2 record in the AFC South, which I do think is meaningful, not only for this group, but I think it's meaningful for if Shad does decide to move on. To me, it's another thing that makes this job attractive to a prospective coach. You're looking at it. This is what above the talent and things like that, and the ownership structure and the city and all that stuff. When a prospective coach is looking at, okay, how difficult is it going to be for me to turn this around? Well, what the Jaguars showed yesterday is the professionalism is absolutely still there, which is critical. And if they go and beat Indianapolis, which I think they might do, and you finish 4-2, then the message is clear. You can win this division next year. If they just went 4-2, and by the way, they've gone 4-2 the last 3 years.
3 years in a row.
Then you can absolutely, as a new coach, step in and feel like, well, I can absolutely win this division and be in the playoffs in year one, as opposed to Chicago, where you've got 2 games against the Lions, Vikings, and Packers. Good luck with that.
Right. And, if you're talking about Ben Johnson, because that's the job he's being associated with, this one and that one, correct. This would be 4-2 3 years in a row. That does matter. I agree with you. Beating the Titans does matter. It just matters because it matters. Doug Peterson is 5-1 against the Titans. Now you say, well, they're not the team they were. Well, he's 3-1 against the Mike Vrabel, Derrick Henry Titans. So so they've done well in the division. They're kicking themselves to the other games, obviously. They've played 16 games. This was the 12th game that came down to not only one possession, but it is the 12th game that the final play of note, whether it was the winning score or the defensive play that ended the opportunity for a winning score, came in the last minute and a half of a game. 12 times, and they've been on the good end of those a few, but the bad end more times. 3 times they made the play, 9 times they didn't. But 12 times. Now, look, that's the way the NFL is, by the way. It's not like this really good team just got bad luck in a bunch of close games. All NFL games are close. The Chiefs play all close games until the other day, and they're 14-1 or whatever they are. 15-1?
15-1, yeah.
But 12 times in their 16 games, the play of note, the winning score, or the defensive play that stopped the winning score from happening, was in the last minute and a half of the game. 12. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
It's a league record, by the way, to have lost 9 one-possession games. So it's pretty amazing stuff. So I was glad they won the game. The things I took out of it, Dewey Wingard helped them. He breathed some energy into them. I thought Josh Hines-Allen, again with very little help from his tackles, played really well in that game. 6 pressures, I think, which is one of the best totals of the league this year, I think, if I saw that right. I thought he played very well. I thought Foye Oluokun was as active as I've seen him all year. Did you sense that? Mm-hmm. I thought he was as active as he was all year. Now, maybe with Ventrell Miller down, he played more plays, but I thought he was as active as he was all year. I think Jarian Jones is going to be a good player. Does he jump off the page for you some too?
He does. Yeah, he absolutely does. I still wouldn't mind, particularly if the pick ends up being 5th or 6th. I would entertain corner.
Yeah. Because and a lot of people believe they will.
Yeah, but it's not. That's not because I think Jarian is not. I think he's got a chance to be a really good player for the Jaguars.
Yeah. And this staff thinks of him as a slot corner anyway,
right?
As a nickel anyway. So
which might be his home.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah,
correct.
So
because he's big,
right?
Yeah.
And he's physical, and he enjoys it, and he's got a good football IQ to be able to fit the run and know his responsibility on the pass. So, I mean, obviously he's got to get better, but there's certainly enough there from his rookie season to think that he can do that. I thought, there were a lot of really positive. Mason Smith is, he got another sack, did some good things. Jordan Jefferson, smart play by the rookie, got his hand up, deflected a pass that Devin Lloyd ended up intercepting, and it led to a score. So, you're seeing some good things. And, now they've got one more game to continue to put that out there and see. But the Colts, obviously aren't playing for anything either. So there's no reason to think the Jaguars can't go up to Indy and get another win.
And not only are the Colts not playing for anything either, but boy, the meltdown in Indianapolis after that loss. For people that don't know, the Giants are terrible, and they hung 45 on them.
Yeah, Drew Lock 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, the meltdown, and I feel for my buddy Gus Bradley because Gus is a great friend, and I really like Gus. But the meltdown in Colt Nation.
Yeah.
Bob Kravitz, who has covered that team forever, right? I mean, forever. And he's not a fire the coach guy. He's got to go, everything's got to change. I'm going to say everything that's on social media. He's not that guy. He is he's crusty, but he's a level-headed thinker. He tweets after. Did you see his tweet?
No.
He tweets after the game. Unacceptable. Everything has to be blown up. They all have to go. Now, that's common language in the social media. Every fan of every team figures they get to decide what's acceptable and what's not, and they get to decide what. So, but he's not the kind of guy. He's not a young guy that on his own website that says that. That's who usually. And I'm not trying to knock anybody, but it's usually guys that start. I love the Colts.com. The 24-year-old guy who decided he's going to be a member of the media and has done a good job with his website that calls for the firing. It's not a Bob Kravitz very often. There was a meltdown among Colts people.
Without a doubt. Pat McAfee was very
and he was real outspoken.
And his comments really going into a lot of detail as to the problems there, because obviously he lives there. He's well-connected, former player. Talking about guys, not showing up for meetings, being late, not going to treatment, things like that. And, Indianapolis, it's going to be interesting to see what they do. It's based on how they played yesterday in a must-win game. It's hard to defend anybody in terms of Chris Ballard's been there forever. I didn't realize this. I think it was Adam Shine that tweeted this out. So Chris Ballard has been the Colts GM now for, 10 years. He's never won a division title, and everyone else in the division has won at least 2.
Yeah, well, I could have told you that. I didn't think about Ballard, but I knew since 2014, the year I started doing the games, Matt Taylor has told me, the play-by-play voice is a buddy of mine, everybody else has won it twice, minimum of twice, and the Colts have not won the division.
Yeah, if you've been the GM in Indianapolis for 10 years and you've yet to win the title in what is, without a doubt, the worst division in the NFL, you probably it's probably time to move on. Taking Anthony Richardson at 4, was probably more of a in reality a fantasy football decision than it was a real football decision, because we just had seen what he was in college, and he was a great athlete, and he's going to run for some yards, and but is that going to lead to winning games? And so obviously he hasn't developed. He's had moments, and he's played better since he was benched.
But he doesn't look like he's going to be the guy.
And he's never available. I mean, that's the other thing.
Right.
If you're only going to play 9 games a year, you're not going to be in. If as great as Mahomes is, if he only played 9 games a year for the Chiefs, he wouldn't be there very long.
As much as I hate it for AR, because he really is a nice kid, Hays, I don't know if he's ever going to overcome the pulling himself out of the game.
Right.
I don't know if he'll ever overcome that.
So yeah, and I think Shane Steichen is a talented offensive coach.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's hard to argue after a performance like that against the Giants. The Giants weren't doing anything on anyone for weeks.
Right.
And then to have Drew Lock, throw for 4 and run for 1.
Yeah. And
obviously you're not.
Yeah.
You're not there.
Now, having said that, I don't necessarily think Shane Steichen's getting fired. I think that's people tweet stuff when they're angry.
Sure.
And so I don't think they're firing Shane Steichen, but there is a lot of chatter going into this last game. That's kind of the point. By the way, one other thing before we go to break, talk some college football. I told you November 9th was the last time the Florida Gators lost a football or basketball game. One day later.
So that would have been the Texas football loss.
That's correct.
Yeah, okay.
One day later is the last time the Jacksonville Jaguars had a takeaway before yesterday.
Yeah, that was stunning.
I did not realize that. Now, when we started doing our prep for the game, we did, but and they got a tipped one yesterday. So
they did. Yeah, they had going into yesterday. They had 8 takeaways on the season, which was the fewest in the NFL by 3.
And hadn't had one since the Vikings came here.
Yeah,
and they got 3 of them. We'll take a break. We'll talk some college football after this. Stay with us.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
If you need an insurance agent, I'll recommend the best guy in town, State Farm agent Craig Dewhurst. Call him at 940-9740. Really good guy, really good agent. Life insurance, homeowners, automotive, you name it, he'll handle it for you. Tell him what you need. He'll assess your whole situation. What kind of coverage do you need? How much coverage? What should your deductible be? What do you make and how does it fit your cost and your rates? You will love dealing with Craig. What a nice guy he is and how he'll help you get the right answers. The best in the business. Craig Dewhurst from State Farm, 940-9740.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Have you heard? Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet are aiming to sell 1,000 vehicles this December. How? I've told my team to take all reasonable offers. We won't lose your business over price. With thousands of cars, trucks, and SUVs on the ground, all priced to sell, we guarantee the most money for your trade and the easiest car buying experience ever. I promise we ain't leaving nothing on the table, but you've only got 1 week left. Visit Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine or Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville. We're here to wow you.
Making a difference in our community for 2025, Paul Martinez here, President and CEO of the Boys and Girls Clubs of Northeast Florida. The Boys and Girls Clubs offers a safe environment to youth every day with homework assistance, a hot meal, career readiness, and character and leadership programs. 57% of club alumni say the Boys and Girls Club saved their lives. Help us grow our outreach as we serve the kids in our community throughout our 59 clubs. Go to bgcnf.org to donate and learn more.
Post-game Monday on 1010XL is brought to you by Dandy Foods, makers of quality fresh sandwiches and home of the good stuff.
Homeowners, listen up. Did you know that 9 out of 10 borrowers get a better deal by calling Loan Pronto? Hey, it's Prosser here, and the Fed has dropped the rates again. The election is over, and Loan Pronto has APRs in the low 5s for refis, debt consolidation, and purchase loans. If your current mortgage rate is over 6%, or if you're in the process with another lender, don't settle. Call Loan Pronto now for a second opinion. Lock a lower rate today and close in as little as 2 weeks, often with no appraisal. And if you act now, you won't make your first payment till February. This 5-minute call saves homeowners an average of $5,000, lower rates and lower fees. So get your Loan Pronto rate quote instantly with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees like those other guys. It's Loan Pronto. Call them at 904-999-1508, or you can visit loanpronto.com. That's Loan Pronto at 904-999-1508, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, on approved credit, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Are you looking for a place to outfit your truck or van? It's Catlin Truck Accessories. For 105 years and 4 generations, Catlin is the name you can count on. This is Keith Catlin, and we know trucks and vans too, from Lear toppers, ladder racks, van shelving, strobe lighting, roll and lock bed covers, and everything in between. If you want quality products and great customer service, there's only one name. It's Catlin.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
For 105 years, you can count on Catlin.
What's that sound? That's the sound of Downy Unstoppable scent beads going into your washing machine and giving your clothes freshness that lasts all day long. There it is again. It's like music to your ears, or more like music to your nose. That freshness is irresistible. Let's get a Downy Unstoppable bottle shake. And now a sniff solo. Nice. With Downy Unstoppable, you just toss, wash, wow, for all-day freshness.
Everybody, Mike Dempsey here. Listen, I'm all about a sure thing. I like putting my money down knowing I'm going to win, and that's exactly what Awaken 180 was for me, a sure bet. I dropped 25 pounds in just over a month, and let me tell you, the results speak for themselves. Now, imagine this. You start Awaken 180 now, and when February rolls around, you've already lost 20 pounds. Or maybe you're like Matt Hays, down 40 pounds by March. And don't even get me started on Hacker. Dude's lost over 100 pounds. Life-changing results, and I got to see it firsthand. Awaken 180 isn't some gimmick. You eat, you're never starving, and the weight just comes off fast. No guesswork, no crash diets, just a plan that works. And the best part, it's built to last thanks to free support for life. Don't wait for another failed resolution. Start your new year with the program that is the sure bet. Visit Awaken180weightloss.com or call 844-346-1800. Make sure this year is the year you win big with Awaken 180.
He used to cover the Jags. Now he's a CBS Sports senior NFL writer.
Well, I believe he's got everybody's attention.
He's Pete Prisco. Friday afternoons on The Frangie Show. Brought to you by Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles on 1010XL.
Mia here for Dream Finders Homes. For a limited time to ring in the new year, Dream Finders Homes is offering an amazing 4.99% fixed interest rate. Now is your chance to lock down the rate and get in the game. You heard me right, a 4.99 fixed interest rate on select move-in ready homes. Visit dreamfindershomes.com for sales event information and get in the game. Interest rate available on select move-in ready homes. Restrictions and limitations apply. Go to dreamfindershome.com for more details.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Fred Taylor this morning on The Drill on being named a finalist for the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
You know, you can get sort of lured into wanting to crunch the numbers and look at the other guys and all of that. But I think what I've learned is once you're in the finalist room, you know, I mean, the margin's so narrow, right? They're so thin. I believe all of the guys are deserving.
It's true.
At
It
some point, you know?
Yeah.
Then it's the process of elimination, and we don't know. And we just stay on standby, you know, until the name is called. There's nothing much more we could do. Stay grateful in the process.
Fred Taylor this morning on The Drill with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update. I'm Andrew Gibson.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Best Bet Monday on The Frangie Show with fantastic locations in Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now in St. Augustine. It's Best Bet.
We just thank our friends from the Best Bet, and remember, they are wide open. They're open tomorrow. They're open on New Year's Day, so go have some fun. Head to the Best Bet. You'll be awfully glad you did. Frangie Carlyon, La Selva with you. Some college football talk coming up. I'll say this. I don't know if the players are any good. I don't know if they'll turn everything over or change anything. But I will tell you what I told you last week, or the last week I worked. I'll give Mike Norvell credit. He's changed the whole program. First of all, he gave back $4 million to put into the NIL. He gutted half his staff, immediately hired more veteran coaches. I don't have a list of the total amount of portal guys they've got. Hayes, he's got to have close to 15, doesn't he? Is
it that high?
Maybe it's not.
I haven't seen as many as I thought I would see. I've seen.
I feel like I've seen maybe, and
it could be. I mean, but it's surprising because if they're of note, normally you've got the national reporters that are tweeting out the message.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he's taken. Obviously, he's got his quarterback Castellanos,
right?
And then I know they've brought in some UCF guys that followed Malzahn. And a defender or two from was it Wisconsin? Tony White.
Nebraska.
Nebraska.
Why does it feel like? It seems to me that they have got more. Hang on, let me pull it up right here. It seems to me they have got
11. I think
it's 11. 11 guys. I mean, that is
Yeah, it's true. They got the Ole Miss offensive lineman that was of note that I saw.
They have a wide out from USC. They have a tight end from Arizona State, a tight end from UCF. Vandy, a lineman, offensive lineman from UCF, offensive lineman from Ole Miss, one from Wake Forest. And then on defense, like you said, an edge from Nebraska, a guy from Western Kentucky, and a linebacker from Nebraska. So when they got the DC, I guess a couple followed.
Yeah, so 11 players, all of whom they expect to be starters. We only start 22, and they're not done. So I'll give him credit. Whether it turns I think Mike Norvell knows, look, here's the story. I better go get Jared Verst and Braden Fisk and Jordan Travis all over again, or I'm looking for work. I mean, don't you think it's that succinct? That's the storyline here?
I think that's how he has to go about it for sure. I mean, I don't know.
We'll see if he got him or not.
I still don't know that they'll fire him after.
And maybe not.
But yeah, like if it's 2-10 again, which it won't be. But if it's 2-10 again, then then sure. But you're right. From Mike Norvell's standpoint, you're not looking to just go 6-6. You want to get into the playoff, win the ACC, and make a run at the title. So
and it looks like to me a lot of these guys are really good players. We'll see if they are or not. Because here's the other thing, too. Obviously, they're going to start because all your players suck.
Right.
I mean, God bless. I don't try to be mean, but they're all terrible players.
Yeah.
I mean, I've in my lifetime, in my professional career, which spans more than 40 years, I've never seen Florida State with this many bad football players. They can't be starters next year. They can't be. I mean, I'm not saying there's not 2 or 3, 4 that have to start, but you know my point. It has to be all new linemen. It had to be a new quarterback. It's got to be new receivers, doesn't it? And so whether he got it right or not, he did what you had to do is go get a bunch of guys. I guess that's my point.
Yeah, and again, I would imagine that they would try to add 10 or so more. I mean, you've got obviously the rest of this portal window. Again, keep in mind the teams that are competing for the playoff. All those those players, they're going to lose players once their season is over. It just hasn't ended yet. But, that's something to keep in mind. You've got the post-spring portal as well. But yeah, I mean, to your point, the infrastructure was so bad. Again, that, there have been multiple layered reporting, investigative stories done on why it went so bad for Florida State. And the thing that everybody keeps coming back to is the recruiting starting with COVID, which Mike Norvell was hamstrung because he couldn't really meet with anybody, but that their high school recruiting was very poor. And once the portal kids left, Verse and the guys you mentioned, there was just nothing else there.
Right.
That's still going to be a problem. Like you're still, and they didn't do great in this class. So, So I mean, obviously that's still going to be an issue, but I would think he's looking to bring in 25 to 30. So that I was surprised because I was the other way. I thought that they'd been a little slower and maybe not as successful with it as I would have thought.
Yeah.
Now, again, they're coming off a 2-10 season, and a lot of these kids that are in the portal are looking to get, if they're elite players or good players, they're looking at options where they feel like they've got a chance to go and win big immediately. But I still think they're in quite a lot of trouble.
Yeah, and we'll see. Well, here's the reality. If they're all good players, they're not in trouble. They'll win a bunch of games. If he misses on a lot of them, then they're in trouble. And so we'll see.
I mean, I just looking at the quarterback, I would be surprised if Thomas Castellano shows up in Tallahassee and they win 9 games based on the roster they had last year.
Right.
And again, while, yes, they've gotten some guys, you haven't really seen any sort of seismic. Like, I haven't even really seen a lot of FSU fans celebrating and being like,
right.
Can you believe we got, so I
Right. So we'll see, but they got a lot of guys. As for the Gators won easily against Tulane. You and I haven't talked about it on the air. It was a sloppy, clunky, poorly played game.
It was better once we stopped watching it.
It was. But one thing I thought mattered is, and Tulane didn't have their quarterback, but Florida should play lousy with a bunch, and clearly they did have opt-outs. They just didn't call it that. It's clear that Caleb Banks and Montrell Johnson and a bunch of guys opted out. That's okay. Yeah, the Crenshaw Dixon, pretty obvious, I thought, that those guys weren't going to play. But to have a bunch of opt-outs, to play a lousy game, and to still easily outman Tulane University is how it should be. When Florida's not very good, the Louisiana Lafayette's and Tulane's of the world hang around with them. When they're good, they play like crap. They're not really into it, and they win by 30 points. And so I thought that was encouraging.
And the walk-on running back scores a touchdown at the end.
Correct.
And your 465-pound defensive tackle gets a carry.
Correct. When they're good, they can play lousy, and those things happen. Here's the gigantic question for me for Florida. And you're not going to like it. Okay, don't take a swing. I'll distance ourselves from a little bit. I need to see if DJ Lagway can take a next step. Because if he doesn't take the next step, he's going to be ordinary. I know nobody says that. Everyone says he's going to be phenomenal. Now, having said that, A, he's a freshman. B, I think he played hurt the entire time he came back. And C, he's not an offense prone to developing offensive players. So that's another question. I love what I think he can be. He's a great kid, it seems like. I heard him interviewed. Guy, he's a neat kid. He's tough. He's strong. He's hard to sack. He throws very accurate deep balls. There's so much to like. So poised, so unrattled. But he also threw 12 touchdowns and 9 picks. In the same time frame, Graham Mertz, just about the same time, threw 26 and 5. He's got to be able to throw the intermediate pass. He's got to be, his ball wobbles like crazy. He's got to throw those tight spirals. He's got to get his footwork right. I'm not some expert of quarterback, but you can tell he's off balance on his back foot, sideways. He's got to learn to do all the good quarterback things. Now, my guess is he's going to. My only worry is he in the right offense to develop him? But if he may, and here's a gigantic question about him. It's clear, well, it's not clear. Let me rephrase it. Since he came back from that injury, he was no factor in the running game. He was a statue, man. He looked like one of the old slow quarterbacks. Now, my guess, all of our guess is A, he was still playing really hurt, and B, there was nobody behind him, so he was told to stay out of harm's way. I believe both of those things. But one of the things that got people so excited about him is the dual threat stuff, that he was such a threat as a runner. So at some point, he's got to quit sliding and run. He's 240 pounds. This isn't I'm not saying you should try and bowl people over every time, but at some point, he's got to run. He's got to run over people, and he's got to keep his feet. And he also has to keep the ball on that RPO some. So you see, I love what I think. I can't wait to watch DJ Lagway play again. I'm very excited about what I think he is. But he does have to take that next step, Hays. That's the gigantic part of – because if he does, then really look out. But he's got to take the step.
Yeah, without a doubt. I was pleased with what I saw out of him, but certainly you started to see at the end of the year, defenses are just rushing 3 and dropping 8, and he's having trouble seeing that. That will certainly be at the top of everyone's list this offseason because he's established enough that he's going to get extensively studied by Florida's opponents. I mean, he will be at the top of Kirby Smart's list this offseason of give me every millimeter of DJ Lagway's game. So obviously there's things that he's got to improve upon. I'm still surprised he ended up with a net positive 101 yards rushing, which I was looking up the number because I agree with you. I was really surprised at how immobile he was because by the time you got to the bowl game, he was pretty far removed from the hamstring pull against Georgia. But we do know those are stubborn injuries, and we do know that Florida had no backup behind him. So that certainly could have been a reason. But I'm surprised he ended up. He was 51 carries. He gained 197. He lost 96 from sacks. So he finished 51 carries for 101 yards, 2.0 yard average, and no rushing touchdowns. I would actually say that's somewhat encouraging to me. The fact that I thought, to be honest, it was going to be like 25 yards. I didn't think he'd be negative like pocket quarterbacks will be in college.
Right.
But I thought it wouldn't be a big number. So, yeah, I mean, if he was, 100, you'd like to think that number can get up to 400, 500 if he's fully healthy next year. But the biggest thing, to your point, is he's a young player. He wants to play hero ball, which is what he did against Tulane, where, instead of running it for 4 yards or throwing the ball out of bounds, he's going to try and, squeeze it in the middle there, and it was 2 really easy interceptions, one in the deep inside the red zone. Obviously, he's got to be coached out of that. But in terms of the clay that's there for Billy Napier and his staff to mold, I mean, I think the kid has got superstar potential. And I do agree with you in terms of his mentality. I mean, he was presented the game MVP and basically was like, this isn't me, this is my teammates. And you could tell those guys really, gravitated towards that and that message. And now he's a Pied Piper. I mean, you're seeing these receivers that want to go play with him. So he certainly has the it, but can he become a highly effective passer? He's got to establish that. I think most true freshmen leaving their first year,
I do too.
I mean, Trevor Lawrence was incredibly rare. The fact that he is a true freshman took Clemson to the national title and made Nick Saban's defense look like they had no idea how to stop him.
Chris Leak in his second year looked totally different.
Right.
Even though he played a lot as a freshman, so hopefully that happens. They getting Dallas Wilson, the big-time recruit, was a big deal for them. They've gotten good players. Look, they're going to run the ball. Their backs are really good. 4 of the 5 starting offensive linemen are back, and Bryce Lovett, and who's really good. They have a really good offensive line. Defensively, it's clear they're going to be pretty good. It's pretty obvious. The only question is, can he become Graham Mertz was really good. He was a 70% passer. Everything's a tight spiral. Everything's right on the money. Accurate, high percentage. But for whatever reason, arm strength, didn't see it, didn't trust it, almost never threw the ball down the field. Lagway threw it all down the field, but if he can learn to do what Mertz did and still hit the big plays, if they get that part figured out, then they're going to have a really good team. We'll see. Let's get about the Jaguar football. We'll take a break. When we come back, Bucky Brooks joins us. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Here we come. The best defense is a superior fence. Superior Fence and Rail highlights the defensive player of the game. On 1010XL, Superior Fence and Rail, where quality matters. Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
Baloo here for Smoonez Vision. Why Smoonez Vision? Well, I've been with Dr. Neil Smoonez now since I got back to Jacksonville in 2006. 37 years of experience he has. Smoonez Vision is a family organization that focuses on personal high-quality medical and surgical eye care. Dr. Catherine Smoonez is fellowship trained in cornea and cataract surgery and all refractive surgery. Combined, that's 30 years plus in laser eye surgery. Visit SmoonezVision.com today. Here you can see.
Jacksonville's building a fence along the goal line. This is the Superior Fence and Rail Defensive Player of the Game. Superior Fence and Rail, where quality matters.
Josh Hines Allen was sensational for the Teal and Black. The Jacksonville defensive end tallied 6 tackles against the Titans, with 3 being solo, and also recorded a sack in what was a great day. Allen made sure that his ruthless aggression rained down all game versus Tennessee, and is your Superior Fence and Rail's defensive player of the game.
If you're tired of your fence looking like a bad hair day, well, it's time for a fence makeover with Superior Fence and Rail. They'll make your yard the talk of the town with a new fence installed by their expert team.
Your fence is fantastic. My fence is giving all of my neighbors some serious pick and envy. Thanks, Superior Fence and Rail.
So get off the fence and call Superior Fence and Rail for your fence installation project today.
SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
These are interesting economic times. That's why it's so important to have someone you can count on. That's ITP Partners. Jacksonville folks taking care of our Jacksonville money. Experience? You best believe you want to give your hard-earned money to folks you trust. Jeff Hartman, Chris Bryan, Dan Abel, Reed Wingate, Scott Regner, Janice Cobb, and Reagan Wright have the expertise and knowledge to help clients in their financial lives, focusing on investment management, financial planning, and risk management. ITP Partners. Financial partners for life. Securities offered through American Portfolios Financial Services, Inc. Member FINRA SIPC SIPC.
If you are an experienced electrician looking for your next big opportunity, look no further than the Millard Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Millard Electric, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering you the chance to showcase your skills on a grand scale. We believe in rewarding hard work with the best pay, top-notch benefits, and an unbeatable culture where people actually care about each other. Take your career to new heights with Millard Electric Company. Apply today at millercareers.com. Millard Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
The 1010XL restaurant of the day is Barley and Pie Brewing Company in Fleming Island. Enjoy Monday Night Football with $4 clay lights. And now offering full table service at Barley and Pie in Fleming Island.
Bowl season brings the holiday feeling.
Deck the halls, deck the halls.
When you play 1010XL's Ultimate Bowl Challenge, you've got the chance to win $1,000 in jewelry from Beard's Diamonds. Log on to 1010XL.com and start picking.
You've got a circle of friends, right? Well, how about a circle of beer? All your favorites like Bud Light, Bud Heavy, Mick Ultra, or Natty Light. It's all there in the cold case at Circle K. Probably one right around the corner right now calling your name. Slide on in to a Circle K.
Atlantic Self Storage, the official storage partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Need to make room to watch football in your home or need a place to park your boat or RV? Store it all at Atlantic Self Storage. Over 50 locations in Northeast Florida. 24-hour access, all with month-to-month leases. Moving? They can help with supplies. They make storage easy. Go to AtlanticSelfStorage.com or call 877-WE-STORE to find a storage solution near you. Go Jags!
Hey, sports fans, it's Hays Carlyon for MyBookie. While other books make promises, MyBookie delivers. This holiday season, they're stacking the deck in your favor with 12 days of Christmas now through the 31st, a festive lineup of can't-miss opportunities for bettors to cash in. Risk-free Thursdays, super boosts, and free bets. Weekly casino giveaways with hundreds of winners and thousands in cash prizes. All it takes is a 50-cent spin on BetSoft slots to enter. With the road to New Orleans, bowl games galore, and a Christmas Day sports feast featuring NFL action and an NBA doubleheader, this is your season to win. The 12 Days of Christmas event is live right now. Lock in today. Use my code 1010XL with your first deposit, and MyBookie will give you a little extra to start your holiday hot. MyBookie is offering a 50% deposit bonus for 1010XL listeners. Just sign up and use promo code 1010XL. There's a reason MyBookie has been the go-to for serious bettors for 10 years. Make your holiday season a jolly one with MyBookie.
What's that sound? That's the sound of Downy Unstoppable scent beads going into your washing machine and giving your clothes freshness that lasts all day long. There it is again. It's like music to your ears, or more like music to your nose. That freshness is irresistible. Let's get a Downy Unstoppable bottle shake. And now a sniff solo. Nice. With Downy Unstoppable, you just toss, wash, wow, for all-day freshness.
David Lane here, and once again, I'm happy to share news of my successful back and knee surgeries at Southeast Orthopedic Specialist. Whatever it is that's bothering you, take it from me. Simply set an appointment today at Southeast Orthopedic Specialist and let them help you get back to normal life. I'm certainly glad I did.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
I'm RJ Saunders with your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. For 1010XL, bowl season action continues on the Superstation beginning tomorrow, as we'll have the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl on our airwaves, which features Louisville and Washington. Our coverage will begin at 2 p.m. on 1010 a.m. On Thursday, we'll showcase the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl between number 14 Ole Miss and Duke. Our coverage will begin at 7:30 on 92.5 FM. And Friday, we'll broadcast the Mayo Bowl battle between Minnesota and Virginia Tech. Coverage begins at 7:30 p.m. on 1010 a.m. The Orlando Magic enjoy a couple of days off following their come-from-behind victory against the Brooklyn Nets. Orlando will open up the new year going toe-to-toe against Cade Cunningham and the Pistons. Our coverage begins New Year's Day at 6:30 p.m. on 1010XL. Right now, 67 degrees at 5 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010 10XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Best Bet Monday on The Frangie Show with fantastic locations in Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now in St. Augustine. It's Best Bet.
Frangie and Carlyon with you today. Bucky Brooks will join us momentarily. We look forward to that. Checking in with our buddy Bucky Brooks. A couple more weeks of Bucky, so that'll be kind of fun when we check in and talk a little Jaguar football with Bucky. It's going to be very interesting, obviously. It always is, by the way. Jaguar football, I say not just Jaguars. When there's been a lot of talk about whether or not a coach and a GM are coming back, it makes that last week and the day after, the Black Mondays, everybody calls it, very interesting. I will tell you this. I'm not to the point that I have a great feeling about any direction they're going. I know a lot of people say, oh, they're both fired. They're both not coming back. Oh, that's the way. I don't know. I don't have a good feeling about it. I'm the play-by-play voice. I'm not going to give you a lot of opinions. I will give you one. I'm a Doug Peterson fan. I hope Doug remains the coach here. But whether he's going to or not, but I don't know that there's. I'll give Shad Khan credit. He has to his credit. All these owners pop off and talk. He keeps to himself. He doesn't show any. I don't know anybody that feels like they know. Do you?
No. There was it was obviously a big topic in the press box, and I think most people feel like could go either way. I still feel like both will be out, but we'll find out in 6.5 days.
I don't have a great feeling. But meanwhile, let's get back to the game. Let's say hello to my buddy Bucky Brooks.
The buck stops here. Time now for Bucky Brooks. Brought to you by Coyle & Sons, Jacksonville's commercial fence specialist, on The Frangie Show.
And Coyle & Sons, you can find out all about them by going to the website, coiljacks.com. Call them at 904-356-4821. I can tell you they're the best in the business for commercial fencing, for overhead doors, and they're doing a major project for our baseball park. They're building us a batter's eye, which is so critical for our ballpark, and they've taken it on, and we appreciate our friends from Coyle & Sons. That's the kind of job they'll do. You tell them you need something, they'll get it done. 904-356-4821. Bucky Brooks joins us now as we wind down the season. Buck, how are you doing, buddy?
Man, we're good. It's always good on a Victory Monday, Frank. You know what that is.
Victory Mondays are way better. You better believe it. A lot to ask about this game. I'll start with the obvious. I thought Mac Jones played his best game here. It's his 6th start as a Jaguar, 48th start as an NFL player. That looked more like the Mac Jones we saw at Alabama, I think, than any time we've seen him this year. Did you think that?
Yeah, I think that. And I think what we always have to understand for coaches, it takes time to really get to know your players. And so that might have been Mac's 5th or 6th start.
Yeah.
It takes a while. Like, teams will tell you that it takes about 4 or 5 games before you learn your team. So anytime you change the quarterback, it's going to take about 4 or 5 games before you know what he can do, what he can't do, what he's most comfortable with, where he's at his best. And I think we finally saw that from the Jaguars. And Mac did a good job of staying within himself. I don't think he tried to be something that he's not. And not saying that he is just a managerial type, but sometimes he needs to live in the managerial world and not try to be the playmaker that sometimes he wants to be, because his skill set is that of a manager as opposed to like the big-time playmaker all the time.
Bucky, another outstanding game for rookie receiver Brian Thomas Jr., 7 catches, 91 yards, and a touchdown. As we get beyond the next game, as we get into the offseason and the Jaguar rivals start to study him, what do you think will be some things that the league tries to do to counterpunch him?
Well, I mean, look, they're going to try and double team him. They're going to try and put their hands on him and play press coverage and all those things. But he's seen those tactics this year. I got to say, man, I'm really excited about it. And some of the excitement about Brian Thomas Jr. came from a conversation that I had with Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk and I were talking, and he was just talking about how smart he is. And we were talking about back in 2022 when they had that receiving core of Kirk, Zay Jones, and Marvin Jones, and how smart their crew was and how they could play multiple spots. And Christian said that, like, Brian Thomas Jr. absolutely could play with us in that group in terms of his IQ and his versatility. And then you start getting excited about what could be next year when you have Evan Ingram and BTJ and Kirk, and they're moving around. Yeah, there are things that opponents will do to deal with him, but what we haven't seen is the fully baked Brian Thomas Jr. playing with a healthy Kirk and Ingram in this new version of what the offense could be.
That's a great point about back when they had Zay and Marvin Jones and Christian Kirk. They all knew all the positions, and it's interesting if he can do this. Let me add another question about Brian Thomas. I'm in the broadcast booth. Fans listening to us are all over the place. Hays is in the press box. You're right there. I'm going to ask this the right way because I'm not going to answer it, but dude, how fast is he? I mean, how fast is he compared to the fast receivers that you see on that sideline? I mean, you covered fast receivers in the league. I mean, is he that much faster than everybody? The way it looks to me, Bucky.
No. So what it is Frank. It's really a subtle thing, right? So I'm gonna lean on your baseball background, right? So you know where you can see a center fielder, right, and the ball is hitting the gap. You're like, there's no way he's going to get it,
right?
But the center fielder is just fast enough to go get it. Brian Thomas Jr. would be an all-star center fielder in terms of the way that he tracks the ball.
I got you.
When the ball is up, he has another gear that he can go to get it. And it's smooth and easy. And I know he tested at like 4.3 or whatever, but it's a different looking speed. He goes as fast as he needs to go. But the thing about it, he's never out of control. The catches that he makes on the over-the-shoulder things and all that Willie Mays stuff that he does is so natural. And that's why I go back to the conversation I had with people at LSU who told me the difference between Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. was they talked about the competitive dog that Neighbors had, but they said the more gifted and talented player is Brian Thomas Jr. And they said if he gets a little of that dog, it's lights out. And I feel like he's been that version in Jacksonville, the gifted and talented receiver who we've seen have that competitive drive and that dog in him to go to the next level and be one of the best wide receivers in the league.
Staying in that position, Parker Washington caught a touchdown yesterday. What do you think Parker can become next year? Is maybe the fourth guy here, something like that, depending on obviously what the front office elects to do. But what kind of strides are you seeing out of Parker Washington, and what do you think he might be able to turn into in this league?
Okay, so now here's what I'm going to say, because full disclosure, because there's been this conversation bandied out like, oh, Parker Washington can replace Christian Kirk. I would say that would be an absolute mistake. I believe that if you rank the top three, we would go in whatever order: Brian Thomas Jr., Christian Kirk, and then Parker Washington. And I know Gabe Davis is on the contract, but I could absolutely see a trio of wide receivers with Parker Washington, Christian Kirk, and Brian Thomas Jr. bouncing around and doing a bunch of different things. If we go four wides, we can do it, but I think then it kind of negates what you have in Evan Ingram and even in Bretton Strange. So to me, there's a role for Parker Washington Jr. to be on the field a lot, to do a bunch of different things. But I still think the linchpin to this offense when it comes to Brian Thomas Jr. is having Christian Kirk, because he is the quarterback's calming influence. If you go back and think about what Trevor is most comfortable doing, he's comfortable in key situations going to 13 and 17. I don't want to remove that. I want Parker Washington to continue to grow. I want Brian Thomas Jr. to be the number one, but I want those veteran guys around to make sure that number 16 is comfortable playing the game.
Bucky, how important are these last games? They just won one. They've got one more to play. How important are these winning these games for the players' psyche going into the offseason and to OTAs? Obviously, individual performance matters because you're trying to earn a spot. I get that. But in terms of the psychology of your team, is it important to finish with 2 wins?
Yes, it's important. It's always important when you're on the field, man. You want to win. And I think that's the thing that a lot of people on the outside are talking about draft picks and all that. We can get to that. We'll find a player that fits at the top of the first round. That's not what it is. I would say the most important part is making sure that the guys are playing the right way, they're doing the right thing, they're listening to the coach, and they're really taking what he says to heart. After the game, talking to so many players, they talked about Coach Doug and what Coach Doug is saying and how it's really important for those guys to finish the right way, put your best foot forward, and all of those things. I love hearing that. But you want to do it. Now, how does it impact the coaching staff and all that? I don't know. I just know that it's really important that we win those games and we finish the right way.
Mason Smith is another young player. The rookie had a sack yesterday, 46 snaps. That was 67% of the game. So obviously he was out there for a long time. What's your feeling on Mason Smith as he gets ready to wrap up his rookie year?
Man, love what he's doing. Love what he's coming on. Have an opportunity to talk to him after the game. You can say that he was saying that the light is kind of come and gone. He's had more opportunities. Those opportunities have led to production. His performance has gone up. All of that stuff you love to hear, you love to see. I would say that, man, it's unfortunate that he didn't play more early because he said he maybe wasn't ready, didn't kind of know, but now he's more focused and he's doing it. As long as he is able to kind of give you that effort on the inside, man, you just think about the possibilities and how this team could bake out. There's still a need for what I would call a pass rushing presence on the interior, but I'm intrigued by what he can be because he told me after the game, he's only played defensive tackle for 2 years, this year being one of those years. Okay, so if he's just scratching the surface on his potential, you got to like what he could be down the road.
Lucky, final thing, what do you think of the Colts? They look like they're a mess, don't they?
Yeah, they look like they're a mess. And when you hear the things that Pat McAfee put out there, all of that, like their culture is kind of struggling internally. But you got to like what they're doing. You have to like that we have an opportunity to win the game. And, look, I'll be honest with you. I don't care about them struggling. I hope they continue to struggle. I want to beat them. Right. I want to finish it off the right way. They're having issues at quarterback and all that other stuff. So for the Jags, man, anytime you're playing a competitive contest, you want to win. So hopefully they can get a win and finish it the right way.
Bucky Brooks checking in, talking Jaguar football, brought to you by Coral Sons. Did you sign up for the dinner on Saturday night? Did you respond yet?
Oh, come on, Frank. You know I'm there now. We're eating. It's Saturday night. We're eating. There'll be some games on.
Okay,
whatever.
There'll absolutely be games on. I just want to make sure. I just looked at I looked at the group text, and I didn't see you on the group text yet. I just want to make sure you were in.
Oh, no. I'm there. I was one of the first. I think I was one of the first.
All right.
Thumbs up. I was on it. Maybe I went directly to Cav with that, but I'm there.
All right, buddy. We'll see.
I'm excited, but I'm gonna be honest. I heard you guys talking. Man, I don't know how this thing is gonna finish up, but I do want us to finish the season with the win. And then whatever happens after that, it happens. But it's always better to end the season with a dub. Hopefully we can get that done next week.
And I'm with you like that. Listen, I'm the play-by-play voice of the team. I'm not going to have a lot of opinions. You'll never hear me call for a guy to be fired. It's not my job. But I'm not afraid to share this opinion. I hope Doug Peterson's back. I like him. I think he's a good football coach. I think he's a really good football coach. I think you got to be careful if you start running off good football coaches. That's how I feel.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, Frank, because here's what I would normally say. Normal protocol in the league, if you go 2 winning seasons, 9-8, and then you have a bad year, you normally get the 4th year to see if it was just an aberration or whatever. And I know, like, the last year has been like 5-19 or whatever it is. But the $1 million question that Doug will have to answer, how is it going to be different? Yeah. That'd be the thing, and that'd be the conversation that you have to have with ownership. How can I make it different? What did I learn from the last year to make it different? Because we had the hard camp and all this other stuff coming into this year, and the record wasn't what we wanted. So how do you change it to ensure that, hey, we're going to be on the right side of the ledger? Because the division is winnable. How can we make sure that we finally realize the potential that we have within the locker room?
Great point. Bucky Brooks talking Jaguar football. Bucky, see you over the weekend, man. Thanks, buddy.
All right, man. Talk to you.
All right. Bucky Brooks, he does a great job talking Jaguars football. It is brought to you by Coyle & Sons. One more time, Coyle & Sons. CoilJacks.com is the website. 904-356-4821 is the phone number. They've been doing it since 1927, and they just embarked on a very big project for us at Walk Off Charities that we are so grateful. They're Jacksonville's fence company, I'll tell you that, and they'll take care of your needs. We'll take a break. Hayes has headlines on the other side.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
It's holiday season, and Nimnick Chevrolet is here for you. Whether you're making memories on the road or continuing family traditions right here in Jacksonville, you can always count on us because there's nobody but Nimnick. Now, that red tag sales event is back at Nimnick Chevrolet. This month, you can save up to $12,000 off a new Silverado. And unlike most dealerships, Nimnick Chevrolet has the largest inventory on the ground ready for you to explore. And with their extensive selection, you're sure to find the perfect truck at Nimnick. Available now, the all-new Silverado EV, designed to go the distance. The Silverado EV boasts 440 miles of range, more standard range than any competitor. And oh, by the way, ask about 0% financing and $7,500 instant cash savings on EVs. Remember, Nimnik will always give you top dollar for your trade. So if you're looking for a great place to shop over this holiday season, there's only one answer, Nimnik, because there's nobody but Nimnik.
Starting at linebacker, number 55, Tom McManus.
I'm bringing you straight to the gridiron to show you what it's like to put on the Jags helmet and pads. Friday from 10 to noon on Jaguars Today.
Brought to you by Renewal by Anderson Windows and Doors.
When you step into a courtroom, you're stepping into a fight. Someone wins, someone loses. I'm attorney Brett Hastings, and at Hastings Injury Law, we've got the experience you want in your corner if you or a loved one suffer a personal injury or a wrongful death. We're here to fight for you. So if you get hit, hit back with Hastings Injury Law, offices Jacksonville. Find us on the web at 904hitback.com or call our 24-hour helpline, 904-HITBACK.
Hey, poker fans! The Best Bet Winter Open Series returns to Best Bet Jacksonville from January 23rd to February 2nd. Satellites into the $1,500 main event kick off January 4th. Take your shot at big payouts with 8 action-packed events and $500,000 in guarantees. Visit bestbetjacks.com for more details. That's bestbetjacks.com. And we'll see you at the Winter Open starting January 23rd.
Hacker here, and for the first time in nearly 20 years, I finally get to have a different resolution. Like most of you, mine was always to lose weight. I'd try something for a few weeks, maybe lose a pound or two, and then give up. Well, I tried. Starting the new year with Awaken 180 isn't a try. It's a sure thing. And why will you stick with it? Because instead of a pound or two, you'll see results right out of the gate. We all need motivation. After my first 3 weeks with Awaken 180, I was already down 30 pounds. Granted, I had a lot of weight to lose, but look at Dempsey, look at Matt Hays. Those guys had results out of the gate too. Dempsey dropped 9 pounds his first week, Matt dropped 12 pounds. Regardless of the weight you need to drop, seeing those fast results will motivate you to reach your goal. Guys, girls, losing weight regardless of how many times you've tried is possible with Awaken 180. Make the sure bet and make 2025 the last time losing weight is your New Year's resolution. Online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialist is now offering ortho walk-in appointments. If you have an immediate need for orthopedic care, contact Southeast Orthopedic Specialist immediately. Avoid ERs and urgent care waiting rooms. For more information, go to se-ortho.com.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Hey everybody, it's Mike Dempsey. Here in North Florida, you know that when temperatures go up and your AC goes out, you need help now. Like right now. Like lickety-split. So why not call Lickety Split and get same-day emergency service for your AC? Now, I bet you've seen their trucks all over town because they've got dozens of certified technicians ready to repair not only your AC, but your home's plumbing and electrical, too. So when you want it done right and you need it done right now, call Lickety Split, AC, Plumbing, and Electric. Any action?
Find more fish on the Ring Power Fishing Forecast Show.
That's a big redfish, guys.
With Captain Kevin Faber.
Oh, my gosh.
Brought to you by Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Thursday nights at 6.
On 1010XL AM.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Multi-unit hair grafting is now available at IHRS and can give you 3 times more hair in one procedure over a traditional hair transplant.
Multi-unit hair grafting gave me more hair in one procedure and within my budget.
You can grow your hair back with this exclusive new procedure. Call for a free evaluation. Call IHRS 904-777-IHRS 777-IHRS 777-4477.
Open enrollment is here, so it's time to secure health coverage for your family. Whether you need Affordable Care Act plans, dental, or Medicare, visit one of the Florida Blue pop-up enrollment tents near you. They make the process easy and stress-free, with medical and dental insurance you can count on. Plus, listen to this. Based on eligibility, many people pay absolutely nothing for coverage. Find a pop-up tent in the Rose parking lot on Beach Boulevard near Southside and at Night of Wonders at the Orange Park Mall. Here's a reminder for Florida Blue members. You can access Sanitas Medical Center with 3 locations around town offering primary care, walk-in services, an on-site pharmacy, and mental health support. 3 Sanitas medical centers and 2 convenient Florida Blue pop-up enrollment sites combined for a winning team in Northeast Florida insurance coverage.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Gather round. It's Hays' Headlines, presented by Harrell & Harrell. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Hear all about it. Here's Hays Carlyon.
All right, welcome back to the Frangie Show. Frank Frangie is here, as is JJ LaSelva. I am Hays Carlyon. Thank you to our friends at Harrell & Harrell. Give them a call at 251-1111. Hopefully you won't need them. Hopefully you won't get hurt. But if you do, that is who you need to put your trust into. Harrell & Harrell, 251-1111. Frank, we're going to start with a big Jaguars victory, taking down the Titans 20-13 for the season sweep over Tennessee. And a chance to go 4-2 in the division. I thought the team showed a lot of professionalism yesterday and a lot of good individual performances.
Yeah, they haven't quit all year long. Everyone wants to talk about everything that's wrong and all this and that, and this is terrible and that's terrible. Look, they've shown some fight all year long. They haven't made plays at the end of the game. This time they made a play. I told you this earlier in the program. They've played 16 games. 12 of those 16 games, they've come down to a minute and a half to play, 1 possession game, and one team makes one more play. The deciding play, either the winning score or the defensive play that kind of ends the hope of the trailing team. 12 times that play's happened in the last minute and a half of the game. 12 of the 16 games. Pretty amazing.
It is. Brian Thomas Jr. continues to sizzle with 7 catches for 91 yards and a touchdown. The rookie now ranks 4th in the NFL in receiving yards with 1,179 and is tied for 5th in the NFL with 10 receiving touchdowns.
He's an amazing player. He really is an amazing player, and you can't help but be excited about where he's headed, Hayes. You can't. I mean, he will be. Look, the Jaguars haven't had enough stars. They just haven't. Tony Baselli and Mark Brunell and Fred Taylor and Jimmy Smith were stars. Maurice Jones-Drew was a star. Keenan McCardell was a star. Tony Brackens was a star. But they haven't had enough, man. They haven't had enough stars, and this guy's a megastar.
Yeah, staying in the division, obviously Houston got just walloped by Baltimore, but that was several days ago.
Right.
Let's talk about Indianapolis. The Colts choke as their defense no-shows in an upset loss to the New York Giants, 45-33. The Jaguars game now has no meaning. Sunday's game, the Colts were still in it until losing to the Giants, but now the Jaguars and the Colts will be playing just for pride come Sunday in Indianapolis.
Yeah, there's an outside chance. I can't confirm or deny it, but there's an outside chance that some folks might have been rooting for the Colts to lose, so that game would have no meaning. So it would be a 1 o'clock start, and you'd be back on the plane and home by 8:30. Now, I can't say that for sure, but there's an outside chance that was the hope, Hayes, because if that game had mattered, pretty good chance it was 4:25.
Yeah, and the Colts, I mean, look, they have an issue when it comes to late season gags. I mean, we saw it here a couple of years ago when they needed to beat a bad Jaguars team with Carson Wentz to get into the playoffs. They lost that game, didn't get in. So that is something in Indianapolis that's not just this year. I mean, they really now have a problem with winning games they should win late in the season that just doom them.
Yeah, they have collapsed on many occasions. Again, I'll say this again. You can't overthink it. When you have your quarterback, you're generally headed in the right direction. And when that quarterback comes of age, you're really headed in the right direction. And until the Colts find that quarterback, and I'm not sure it's Anthony Richardson, he won't have a chance to come of age. We'll see.
Let's get into a look at the AFC playoff picture. Cincinnati and Miami are still alive at 8-8, but will need help from 9-7 Denver. The Broncos play the 15-1 Chiefs in the finale, but Kansas City is expected to sit starters with home field and the number 1 seed all locked up.
Yeah, I want to see Denver in. Do you?
I'd like to see Burrow get in, but I'm not holding out hope because I think Denver's going to beat Kansas City's JV squad and get in.
Yeah, I heard that Patrick Mahomes,
Christian Okoye.
Len Dawson,
Joe Montana,
are all sitting.
Yeah.
So, Burrow's fine. I've seen enough of him. I like watching him play. But I think Bo Nix is fun to watch.
They're a great story. I mean, Bo Nix has been incredible, and that defense is sensational. So, yeah, Sean Payton deserves a lot of credit for what the Broncos have been doing, and they've been out of the playoffs for an 8-year drought, which is unheard of for them. So, it'll be interesting, but I would think Denver wraps it up at 10-7. Let's get to the NFC playoffs. Jaden Daniels, sensational again, as Washington clinches its playoff berth with a 30-24 win over Atlanta last night. Just a tremendous performance by him. And it's been a great year of rookies. Obviously, Brock Bowers has done amazing things. We mentioned Knicks. Obviously, Brian Thomas Jr. has been a superstar in year one. But what Jaden Daniels is doing, how clutch he is as a rookie, it is dazzling what Jaden Daniels is doing in Washington.
And let me say this. If you're watching, no disrespect to Jaden Daniels. He's been magnificent. But you're watching that game, it's incomprehensible to me how Raheem Morris doesn't have a better feel for the timeout.
I know.
NFL coaches spend more time afraid to call the timeout. Look, you need the time more than the timeout. Honestly, and again, one of the reasons the thought of them running off Doug Peterson concerns me is, say what you want, he's as good as I've ever seen at that. He's as good. Doug Peterson's as good a coach as I've ever seen at knowing how to manage the timeouts, how to manage the clock, how to manage a game. He's a good coach. I watched Zach Taylor do it. I watched Raheem Morris. And I didn't even care who won. I'm screaming at the TV, call the timeout. I'm screaming, and I didn't care. I'm thinking, it's incomprehensible. I
it went from 45 seconds to 20.
I couldn't even watch it, Hayes.
Yeah.
It was like watching like nails on a chalkboard. I couldn't watch him not call that timeout. And so
we have seen a lot of that this year. Eberflus obviously lost his job.
That was terrible.
Yeah, I mean, it is surprising how big of an issue it has been, and that is something that Doug Peterson's done a nice job of for sure. Staying in that NFC playoff picture, let's get it to Tampa Bay. The Buccaneers rout Carolina 48-14 to take the lead in the NFC South. The Bucs need to beat the Saints at home on Sunday to clinch the division. Otherwise, the Falcons would still be in play. But the Saints, they just lost to the Raiders in big fashion. New Orleans has got everybody out. I would think Tampa Bay and Baker Mayfield on their way to the postseason.
Yeah, they're the best team in the South, and they're going to win the South. I don't know how much they'll do or how far they'll go. But, hey, you know what? He's been a great reclamation project. First overall pick in the draft. Like so many first overall picks, it takes a while. It freaking takes a while. Is this his fifth team? I mean, Browns, Panthers,
Rams. So I think it's his fourth.
But his fourth team, he's a young guy. It takes a while. It really does. So good for them.
Yeah, he's been incredible. Monday Night Football tonight, Week 17 wraps up. Detroit travels to face San Francisco. Not much drama here. The Lions are 13-2 and have a huge game against Minnesota in the finale, not just for the NFC North supremacy, but for the number one seed in the NFC. So the Lions don't have much to play for tonight. A loss doesn't hurt them. The 49ers are 6-9 and playing for nothing. But still, if you want to watch a football game tonight, the Lions and 49ers are playing.
And two named teams with good players. You're right. It's not much of a game. Boy, what a good game that'll be next week, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
For the right to win the division, which means everything.
Yeah, that'll be Sunday Night Football, Detroit, Minnesota. Let's get to college football. The playoff resumes tomorrow with Penn State taking on Boise State in the Fiesta Bowl, followed by a triple header on Wednesday.
I can't wait. I mean, this is, again, like you, no offense, Boise, I wish it was Penn State, Alabama, and then the other games. But, yes, it's going to be – I can't wait to watch these games. I can't – in fact, we have a bunch of us that go to dinner on a regular basis on New Year's Eve. We have like 10 of us, 5 couples. I hope we're near a TV. I know where we're going. I just hope there's a TV where we're going.
Very good. The Gator Bowl is Thursday as Ole Miss takes on Duke.
Yeah, you know what? Greg McGarrett, he's such a good guy, and the Gator Bowl folks do such a nice job. I'm really, really, really rooting for it to work out for them. I hope they get a good crowd. Greg really tried to push for that Florida-Duke game. Florida wanted to do it. Duke wanted to do it. It would have been the Spurrier Bowl. Steve would have done the coin flip. He would have been the Grand Marshal. He would have the guy that coached at both schools. But the SEC was not going to let the Gator Bowl take a 7-5 Florida team when there was a 9-3 team out there that wanted to come to Florida. You were all over that. You said that well before the rest of us did, and that's the way it played out.
The Miami Hurricanes lose the Pop-Tarts Bowl to Iowa State 42-41. Cam Ward skips the second half. Miami defense was a problem all year. They gave up 415 yards and did not force a turnover as the Canes finished 10-3. What'd you think of Miami's season? Did you have any issue with the Cam Ward and how they handled that?
First of all, the Pop-Tarts Bowl is awesome because Pop-Tarts are awesome.
Yes.
Let me get that out of the way. You know, I don't like guys opting out, and I'd prefer they not. I wish Mario Cristobal had told people he was going to play a half. Now, maybe you give the opponent a competitive advantage if you say that, but rather than make it look like he just sat out, I wish they would have said the message. But no, it didn't bother me overall. Miami's season, it was pretty. Don't overthink it. The evidence generally tells you they had a fun, wide open offense, and they had a lousy defense that played with fire too many times. Too many Hail Marys at the end and crazy stuff at the end. And if you play with fire too many times, you're going to get burned. That's the cliche. And their defense was so bad, it cost them a chance at the playoffs.
It'll be really interesting to see what Miami does at quarterback. And you know, as we watch Cam Ward likely be the first or second pick in the upcoming draft. Let's get to college basketball. The Gators, 6th ranked, ripped Stetson 85-45 to reach 13-0 heading into SEC play. They will travel to Kentucky for the SEC opener.
Yeah, good news is they are really good. Long, tough, physical, skilled, well coached. They've got all the pieces. The bad is, so do most of the teams in the SEC. Certainly that top tier. I'm telling you, you can be 13-0, ranked 5th, one of the best teams in the country, and look up and you're 1-4 in the league. And the league is just that tough, so it's going to be a tough go. I will tell you again, Florida fans, this is going to be one tough go in that conference.
Yeah, if they start out SEC play 3-0, you can start making your plans to San Antonio in the Final Four. I mean, that would be remarkable if Florida gets off to a hot start because it is a brutal opening stretch in conference play, but it'll be fun to see how they handle it. Florida State men's basketball coach Leonard Hamilton is being sued over unpaid NIL deals. 6 players are alleging that Hamilton promised them $250,000 each. The 76-year-old Hamilton is in the final year of his contract. Just another unfortunate NIL fiasco, and we'll see where it goes from here.
Brett Hastings is going to come by tomorrow. We don't have a show on Wednesday with New Year's Day. Brett's going to come by tomorrow, and we're really going to break that down. I mean, he's going to really get into who's right, who's wrong, what can happen. Could Leonard Hamilton really get sued here? Could he be culpable? Is the school culpable? Will these guys get their money? There's been a lot of these, but this one's got some meat to it, just like the Rashada one did. So Brett Hastings to talk about it, but what a mess, no question.
Miami is looking for a new men's basketball coach. The great Jim Larinaga has elected to retire as the season is in progress. Blame the NIL landscape. Frank, at his going away press conference, just said, look, we went to the Final Four, and I blinked, and 8 guys were looking to get in the portal to go make more money. It's not for me anymore.
Well, and I get it. Look, it's chased a lot of coaches out. That's the reality. It's chased some coaches out of the sport, some from their school. There's guys like Chip Kelly who left a head coaching job to go be an assistant. Is it Jeff Hafley, the Boston College head coach, left to go be an assistant? I think it's scarred a lot of people, and it's really a shame.
It is, and we will get you out on our musical note.
Oh, give me some music. Give me some music.
Because it's happy birthday wishes. Number 77 to ELO founder Jeff Lynne. From 1972 to 1986, ELO had 15 singles crack the top 20 of the Billboard Top 100. This is the 1979 hit, Don't Bring Me Down.
One of my favorite bands, as you know, and I know I've told you a story. When I saw them, this is a band that we finally saw 4 or 5 years ago, me and a bunch of my buddies. I knew they were good, but when you saw them, you realized they were great. Because I'd never seen them. So great choice. You can't go bad with ELO on a doggone Monday on the First Coast. You kidding me? Well done, as always, on Headlines. Back to wrap the program after this.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Hey, sports fans, it's Hays Carlyon for MyBookie. Find your holiday season stride with MyBookie. Take advantage of their live betting, especially if a heavy favorite gets off to a slow start. And check out their cool prop bets. If you haven't signed up, go to mybookie.ag and register for a free account. Use promo code 1010XL to get a 50% bump on your first deposit. For a limited time, MyBookie will add 50% to your initial deposit. Let's take a look at some updated MyBookie lines. The Jaguars are a 5-point underdog at the Colts. The over-under is 45 points. Cincinnati is a 2.5-point favorite at Pittsburgh. The Lions, a 3-point home favorite over the Vikings. Sign up with that promo code 1010XL to claim your deposit bonus. Again, it's a 50% bonus. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. And don't forget that promo code 1010XL.
Post-Game Monday on 1010XL is brought to you by Dandy Foods, makers of quality fresh sandwiches and home of the good stuff.
This is Brent Musburger's Visa in Action update on 1010XL. Brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. When you're stuck, call the Duck. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
The college football postseason continuing Tuesday night. Quarterfinal matchup. It's the Fiesta Bowl as number 4 Penn State will take on number 9 Boise State in Arizona. The Nittany Lions are coming off a 28-point win against SMU. Boise State earning a first-round bye, have the nation's leading rusher in Ashton Genty. Penn State an 11-point favorite, minus 115 against the spread, while Boise State getting the 11 points or minus 105. On the money line, Penn State minus 450, Boise State plus 340, and the over-under point total is at 53.5. The winner will face either Georgia or Notre Dame. Those two teams play New Year's Day at the Sugar Bowl. Earn cash back on your gaming transactions with the G-Bank Signature Visa Card at vsin.com/GBank. I'm Tony Desiri with your Visa in Action update on 1010XL.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. You know, pool design has come a long way, and if your pool is outdated, Stanley Pools specializes in bringing older pools up to date for the whole family to enjoy. That's why I did it a few years ago, and man, I love the way my pool looks now after we added travertine pavers and so much else. Stanley Pools has been serving our community since 1988, so call them today at 269-7277 or find them online at stanleypoolsfl.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
Frank Frangie here. Big Chief Tire makes auto care affordable with 6-month financing with the CFNA card. Plus, get $50 off your first purchase when you sign up. Whether you need new tires, brakes, or general checkup, Big Chief's expert technicians will take care of your car with top-notch service. And with no interest for 6 months, now is the perfect time to handle your vehicle needs. Visit WeKeepJacksRollin.com or call 904-932-0950 to apply for your CFNA card today. Big Chief Tire keeps Jacks rolling.
Jimerson Burr is a full-service, Florida-based commercial law firm that has experience and capabilities to handle any legal issue a business is confronted with. Learn more about what they can do for you at jimersonfirm.com.
Hey, Florida drivers, the holiday season is upon us. When celebrating, always plan ahead and know all your options. If you drink, don't get behind the wheel. Instead, designate a sober driver or catch a ride service. And if you are the designated sober driver, commit to staying sober. Besides, a DUI could cost you $10,000. Not exactly the best gift you could give yourself. Celebrate responsibly and remember to drive sober or get pulled over. This message brought to you by the Florida Department of Transportation.
This holiday season, let Bono's Catering do the cooking so you can enjoy more time with family and friends. Frank Frangie here. Bono's has been serving Jacksonville's best barbecue for 75 years. Holiday catering is available with whole smoked turkeys, country hams, and all the fixings. Be sure to pre-order online at bonosbarbq.com or give us a call at 904-332-7427. Speaking of the holidays, Bono's signature rubs make the perfect gift for all barbecue lovers. Remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
Spend lunchtime with the ladies.
A meal and
Sparkling conversation.
Helmets and heels.
Mia O'Brien, Lauren Brooks, and Taylor Dahl.
Just behave, okay?
Switched on by First Coast Lighting and Fans on 1010XL.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Have you heard? Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet are aiming to sell 1,000 vehicles this December. How? I've told my team to take all reasonable offers. We won't lose your business over price. With thousands of cars, trucks, and SUVs on the ground, all priced to sell, we guarantee the most money for your trade and the easiest car buying experience ever. I promise we ain't leaving nothing on the table, but you've only got 1 week left. Visit Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine or Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville. We're here to wow you.
I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick, we're a 4-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $40,000 a year and right now make over $90,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition or student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted to the program, your only cost for the books and the course fees, about $800 a year.
That sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org and you can apply there.
Apply by May 15th.
A lot of companies will tell you they're the best. At Custom Tree Surgeons, they show you every time. Custom Tree Surgeons has built an all-pro team. Every tree service professional has years of experience, continually trained and certified. They know what, when, and how to handle any job. It gets done efficiently and quickly by a team of experts. So for tree trimming, removal, stump grinding, and emergency services, forget any name other than Custom Tree Surgeons. There is no job they can't do better. Go to our website, CustomTreeSurgeons.com. That's CustomTreeSurgeons.com, and let them show you how the job is supposed to get done.
This is Greg Huntington, a.k.a. The Mangler. I'm on the winning team at Waste Management. If your business needs sustainable environmental services for waste removal and recycling collection, then you can count on the industry leader of WM to deliver results. Go to WM.com/Duval.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Pro Football Hall of Famer Tony Baselli this morning on The Drill on Sunday's win over Tennessee.
Yeah, it's always good to beat the Titans.
Yeah.
At least in the moment.
Right.
But then the hard part is, the season we're having, you walk away and you're like, I'm happy for the players. I'm happy for the coaches. But if you want to be honest with yourself, you're probably better off losing.
100%.
I mean, because right now the season's over. You're not going to the playoffs. You're a bunch of your guys that you're hoping are going to be key components in the future are hurt. Number one, your quarterback. And I think everyone would agree a month from now, would you rather have the 2 pick or the 5 or 6 pick?
Tony Baselli on The Drill with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update. I'm Andrew Gibson.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
All right, where we've been in the show today, we talked Jaguar football. Good win over the Titans. Mac Jones, I thought, played his best game as a Jaguar in start number 6 here. Obviously, Brian Thomas Jr. continues to shine. Great catch in the back of the end zone by Parker Washington, who's showing up as well. So we certainly talked about that today on the program. Bucky Brooks joined us a little bit later on to give his thoughts from that Jaguar sideline. We talked about the Gators and moving forward with DJ Lagway. He's got to improve and grow, but if he does, look out. The Knowles with my goodness, all those portal guys. We'll see what winds up happening. We talked a little bit about Miami and Cam Ward as well. Sad to see Greg Gumbel die. Greg was one of the smoothest silk, easy listening voices in all of sports, I thought. Reminded you a little bit of Tirico in a different way. The older brother of Bryant Gumbel, who about whom you've heard a lot and has been in sports and other broadcast entities. But Greg Gumbel was really good. Greg Gumbel worked for NBC, a lot of years for CBS, obviously. That's where he made his calling. Called Super Bowls, was the host of the Final Four of the NCAA tournament for many years. Did about everything and was a really good broadcaster.
Without a doubt. A big part of Selection Sunday, and he was missed this year, when his health didn't allow him to, broadcast the NCAA tournament and host the the studio shows that we love. So, but it's been really cool seeing all the tributes. I mean, it's been dozens and dozens of people that have worked with him that have offered not only their condolences, but usually a cool personal story about how gracious a man he was.
Yeah, seemed like a nice guy. I don't know him. I never knew him, but it seems that way. Meanwhile, in the war that's just going to shock the world, the whole world's talking about it. Nobody's working right now. Missouri, after being down 24-14, roared back like only Mizzou can, and now leads Iowa 27-24 with 2 minutes to play in the game, and they got a 4th and 1. Just incredible drama at the Trans-Perfect Music City Bowl.
Well, you get these logos together.
Forget
it. I mean,
well, you know what you do?
Yeah.
You throw the windows up. You throw the records out the windows.
Right, I mean, some JJ, some questionable game management there from the Hawkeyes.
I wouldn't question it's the Iowa way. So I guess I haven't been watching it, but Pat Forty tweeted out that Kirk Ferentz punted with 3 minutes left on a 4th and 2 down by 3 points.
How about that? God bless you.
And so now he's going to get the ball back, I guess. If it's
did they stop him?
It's 4th and 1. So
Oh, it's 4th and
you may
1.
not get it back. 4th and 1.
At the 2-minute warning.
Might look like a genius.
Hey, we'll talk this week, as all the shows will, about what happens on Monday. And like you said, we don't know. We talked about this earlier in the program. We don't know what will happen. I will tell you this. And again, you know me, Hays. I hate the fire the coach. The fire fixes everything. A society, but I will say, and listen, they've got to change a lot of stuff. Whether it's personnel, they got to do things differently. They you can't. You don't just accidentally look up and you're 4 and 12. It's not an accident. You did some bad things wrong. But I do think if I'm the agent making a case for Doug Peterson, if such a thing happens, he is the only Jaguars coach to have more winning season than losing season in the 30-year history of the franchise. He is, if he wins that game, he'll be 12-6 in division games. That's by far the best record in Jaguars history. He's 5-1 against the Titans. That's an .833 winning percentage. That's laughably better than anybody else who's ever coached here. So, and again, there's more to it than just a few numbers here or there. But he's a good football coach. Whether he is the right coach here or not, Chad will decide what he thinks about that. But it does make me nervous running off a good football coach. Now you got to do some things differently if he stays. Got to fix defense. The defensive thing was not very good. They have to figure out some personnel issues, and there's some coaching things. So, but I think I hope he doesn't go, but I don't know if he will or not. But I do think the storyline today on this Monday, when we are 7 days from Black Monday, is it's one of the few times I've been very unclear about it. Doug Maroon, I had a hunch was coming. Doug happened during the season. Did Doug happen during the season?
No, Doug was Black Monday. Gus was during the season.
But Doug was during the season at Houston.
Remember, Marone was the Diana Rossini report that was like before the last game, I think.
That's what I got
so we all kind of saw it coming.
Yeah, but this one I don't know. I've got some thoughts about some of the other stuff that might happen. But as far as Doug Peterson goes, I can't tell you. I got an opinion. I got a gut, but it's not a. You know what I mean? It's not a. I'd be surprised if it doesn't happen. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I think that's consistent with those that cover the team. It seems like it's wide open in terms of what to expect.
That's said way more succinctly than I said it. That's exactly right.
I'm going off of what I think most NFL owners would do in this situation. And I think most in this situation, I think they would take into consideration the 1-5 finish of last year, coupled with the 0-4 start to this year, where you never really got going at all this year. It might be easier to give them a pass on it had they opened decently, but obviously the 0-4 start. So we'll see. Yeah. But who knows? We'll know in 7 days.
That's right. We'll talk more about it. I don't know that I agree most owners would do it. I don't know that I don't know that's where I am. We'll see. I know that's what a lot of people want them to do, and maybe that's what he's going to do. We'll find out. So, folks, that'll do it for our program. Bill Coon and Rick Ballou will weigh in on this and a whole lot more coming up as well. We'll be here tomorrow, not here on New Year's Day, but we'll be here taking you through all those New Year's Eve games during the day as well. We're out here for Hays and Jay.